You're someone who's had a very successful material career within American society, but American society is deeply layered, and that's something that the rest of the world kind of knows because of music, because of YouTube again. But I don't think that people truly understand the layering of America. And that's definitely not what we are told while we are in engineering college and prepping to go to America. So I'd love for you to give a bit of an overview on the reality of America that you have figured out over the last 25 years.
See, the reality of America is based on what we see on television and what they show to us. Okay, so it's based on Santa Monica Beach and Venice Beach and Hollywood, New York City, Times Square, right? But the underbelly has a lot going on. For example, there is not a single parent today in America who is comfortable sending their children to school and being carefree. There is a bug in your stomach when you send your kids to school. For example, if I ask a parent, hey, when was your last incidence in a school, in your child's school? The mind will automatically go to a negative incidence because it's happening so frequently.
Even in good areas? Like so-called high society
Certainly.
areas?
Like just few days ago, I was speaking to an executive at Apple. And he's a friend. So he was saying, Mandar, your work, I now understand it because he was with his 8-year-old kid in Fremont in a mall and there was an active shooter.
In the mall?
In the mall.
Where is the Fremont Mall?
Bay Area.
Okay. This is like heart of California, San Francisco.
He's a very successful IT executive and he knows what I'm doing. But 8 years later, it has connected because he has now had a personal experience that with his 8-year-old daughter, he's hiding under a table in a mall because it's an active shooter situation. Another example I'll give you. There was a mass shooting in a town called Parkland. It was in a school and it went on for more than 8 minutes. And I met the math teacher of that school at a social event in Washington, D.C. And when she heard about the work that I'm doing, she took me aside and she told me she was the math teacher of that school. And she locked the door of her classroom till everything was over. And when the SWAT team came, she did not open the door because she thought it's the shooter. And when the SWAT team made her comfortable, she had walked over dead bodies and she's not able to sleep at night because all of them were her students. So, these things are happening and it can happen anywhere. I'll give you one more example, Ranveer. I produced a film. I was looking for an editor of my film. I finally found an editor. I went to San Francisco to his home. And while we are editing, putting a storyboard of the film, his 6-year-old son comes. School bus drops. Daddy goes to pick up the boy. The boy keeps his bag on the sofa and says, Daddy, you know what I learned today? Code Red. So Daddy and Mandar are asking, what's Code Red? So Code Red is an exercise that is being taught in almost every American school. 6-year-old is telling the story that, Daddy, the teacher made us hide under a table and not make any sound for 30 minutes. He doesn't know the purpose of Code Red. He's a 6-year-old. But this is happening in every school. And that's scary. That's not why we send children to school, no?
On American podcasts, you'll often hear chats about gun laws. Gun laws are often not spoken about in Indian society or worldwide society because having guns here is illegal. I don't get why having guns is legal in America. I think the narrative is that guns are good for the sake of self-protection. But the rest of the world is managing the self-protection without the guns. So, do you have anything to say about gun laws?
I think it's a matter of concern that you have more shops that sell gun than selling whatever gym equipment. That's not a sign of a healthy society, right? So,
Why?
but there is a counter argument that if there was no presence of a weapon in these schools, the shooter could have continued for more. So that is where the divide is. That is where the polarization is. That do I want guns in my child's school, or do I not want guns in my child's school? And that becomes a polarizing discussion, because there is no right or wrong in many situations in life. So navigating that by actively promoting compassion, peace, healing is what we can do to bring all sides together. Because who doesn't want peace? Who doesn't want compassion? And that is how I have chosen to navigate this divide. So that I'm not taking a position on X or Y, I'm taking a position on peace.
My reading of America is that it's perhaps even more polarized than what we see in Indian society.
You are spot on. Because there are many issues that have created or have been created to create that divide. Because, when you have a divide, somebody makes money out of that divide. And it is a capitalistic society. So, that is where we have to awaken civil society. Okay. And that is where we have to do the same thing everywhere, including India. Is at one point of time, these are not political issues. These are social issues. And we have to come together, because there is no right or wrong. We are both impacted by that issue. So that is where I think the Indian wisdom of higher purpose of life, who are you, when that transformational approach starts, that, hey, I want to be part of the human race. I want to be part of the solution. I don't like the divide. Because in a family, let's say there is a married relationship, right? There will be arguments, for sure. But a husband and wife come together for the sake of the child, right? So they make an agreement that at least let's not fight in front of the child. This agreement happens, why? Because you care for the child. So that is where the the wisdom of human values need to be now given to all kinds of strata of society.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about American society. What do people not know? Maybe I'll actually begin this conversation by asking you about those shootouts in those schools. Who are the shooters? Are they all people who are psychologically not in the right place? Or is there another aspect to those stories?
I feel you have hit the nail. I feel like, if you look at the demographic of the people who have been doing these acts, and if you analyze the logic behind why would somebody carry an AR-15, go into the first grade school and shoot 20 first graders, then go to the teacher's room and eliminate 7 teachers, and one of them is his mother, and then take his own life. If you take a 30,000 feet higher view, it is a complex situation. It could be based on lack of parenting, right? It could be these video games that the youth are playing where they are killing people. So for them, the sensitivity of what does it mean to hurt somebody is not there. And definitely it's a psychological problem. So mental health is a big challenge. So just recently, 2 days ago, the American Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, Dr. Murthy, has taken a very important step. He has now categorized gun violence as the highest cause of youth violence. And he has called it out as a public health issue.
Youth death?
Yeah, more people, more youth have died due to gun violence than any other type of violence.
Okay.
And he has flagged it as a public health issue. Public health issue means what? There is a solution to it.